Hi, I'm Dr. Isla Fishburn of Kachina Canine, here to guide you to live from soul consciousness, heal, and live in ceremony with your canine friend. And that is what I'm here to talk to you about today, share from my experience of what I mean by return to ceremony, and in particular, return to ceremony with your canine friend. This concept of return to ceremony has been coming to me for quite some time now. I hear it from spirit. I hear it from many of my own spirit guides that I connect with, that I work with. But most importantly, I hear it really loudly from our animal friends, from our canine friends, our canine allies that we coexist with, that we may have coexisted with and they've transitioned, and also with what I refer to, or how they refer to me, as the canine people, which is the collective consciousness of canines, which kind of means all canines that there is in the past, in the present, in the future. And so I just sit in this space of trust and therefore knowing when the canine people wish to speak to me, wish to give their own wisdom, their own intelligence. This may be from an individual dog, it may be from one of my dogs, it may be a dog that has transitioned, so the dog is in spirit, or it could be the collective consciousness of canines as a whole. And this concept of return to ceremony, I'm bringing forward now from the release of my new book that's called How the Canine People Help the Humans Return to Ceremony. It feels really right to kind of bring this concept forward now and give it a little bit of meat, to give it a little bit of juice, so we can plant that seed of what do I mean and what does it feel like, how we can contemplate this concept or these words of returning to ceremony. And so really I want to start with returning to ceremony with our dogs, with our canine friends, that they are here as like a bridge to allow us to return to ceremony, to allow us to step into this space of oneness, of soul consciousness, of an awareness, appreciation, knowing, communion and coexistence with everything that exists, both in what we call the seen or the physical, and also the unseen or the invisible. So we are human right now, but from a level of our soul, which is what return to ceremony is all about, and soul consciousness, we have been many things. We may be many other things. I don't have all the answers, and from a place of the soul, we're not supposed to. So I can just share from my own experiences as I am in this journey itself of returning to ceremony and what this looks like for me, what this feels like for me. And so returning to ceremony is very much a journey. In this human body that we're in, it is lifelong, an experience, a remembering, a returning. And so this concept of ceremony, our canine friends share with me that they are the elixir to our spiritual amnesia, which I just love so much. They are the elixir to us remembering how to return to ceremony. They are the elixir to our spiritual amnesia. And so when we maybe think or feel into the concept of ceremony and what ceremony can be, what it may include, what it may involve, there may be this image and a belief system, excuse me, around, oh, ceremony is something big and it's, a big celebration, a big ceremony, like crowds of people. It's, or maybe intimate, it's really sacred, it's private. That is one type of ceremony, and yeah, for sure, those ceremonies are important and those ceremonies are needed. And so returning to ceremony can include that, of there are periods in our life, there are episodes in our life where we just need to go, okay, do you know what? I need to withdraw and I need to go into some really deep sacred space here. I need to really go in and be in deep ceremony to call. Sometimes we have these really huge things, these experiences happen in our life and we don't quite know what to do. And then in some way we just kind of have this knowing, this sense, this intuition, this feeling of like, wow, I actually need to be out in the rain, I need to be on the lands, I need to be with the winds, I need to be with the fire, I need to be just with the stars. That is all a concept of getting glimpses of returning to ceremony. So we can be in those spaces where deep ceremony is required for our own initiations, which life brings for us to grow and return to ceremony, which might be, for example, with our canine friends when they are ready to transition. It might be for something that has happened in our life that just brings confusion, pain, hurt, and we can get stuck in this concept of something is happening to me. Oh my goodness, my life is such a mess because this keeps happening. Something is happening to me. Why does this keep happening to me? But if we drop into this space of, rather than why is this happening to me, and ask why is this happening for me? Just a change in words, but this is the beauty of words. Words are spells, words are magic. Words in themselves also are ceremony. They hold consciousness. So just changing that word of, rather than why is this happening to me, why is this happening for me? Right there, I trust that you can feel on some level it changes the very place in your body where you are feeling that. Feeling into the concept of the words, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? It's, I'm looking for something outside of me to blame, to point the finger, to pinpoint, to get an answer about. Why is this happening? Why does this keep happening? And when I feel into that, I feel it very much like, oh, my brain's seeking the answer. My rational mind, as it's called, is seeking the answer. But if I drop into that space of, why is this happening for me? Oh, I don't understand right now, and at that level I'm not supposed to understand, but why is this happening for me? I feel it here. I feel it here. And that's what also returning to ceremony is. In my teachings, there's this beautiful concept, phrase of the longest journey we will ever go on. The longest journey we will ever go on is a distance from here to here. I might ask you, tell me, like, what's the longest trip you can travel? How far do you think you can travel the world? And it'd be millions of miles. But actually the longest distance, the longest journey we can travel is the distance from our rational mind to our intuitive mind. And we all start life in the intuitive mind. The intuitive mind is the heart. The intuitive mind is ceremony. The intuitive mind is soul. And I'm asking here to just welcome the words that I'm sharing. There may be some things that I share that are like, what the hell are you talking about, Isla? And I get it, right? I really get it, because when I kind of first really start to get into this way of coexisting with our dogs and sharing this, I guess just before that I don't get this and it's a bit too much. But now that I'm in it, I really want to bring it forward because it's so valuable for our own life. It's so valuable for our life with our canine friends. It's so valuable for our coexistence with all of life. And so the intuitive mind is, this place of the soul. And when we even consider the concept of the intuitive mind and that of the heart, like the heart is its own mind. The heart has its own consciousness. The heart has its own intelligence and wisdom. So this might even be the concept of, with our dogs, they have their own wisdom and intelligence from the heart. And this is what return to ceremony is, living from that place of soul consciousness and being with our own intelligence and wisdom of the heart, and then connecting, being in communion with and communicating with our animal friends to start with, and then all of life from this place of soul consciousness. And so this is why it's so beautiful that, yes, our animals are here, our animal friends are here on their own soul journey. They're in their own ceremony experiencing, and that might be around physical conditions, it might be around fears that their physical body is displaying, but underneath that, they have a soul, underneath that they have this intelligence and wisdom that when we connect at that level, we can really understand where they are at, what is happening at a conscious perspective, at this wider consciousness, this soul consciousness, and then how we can support them and also how we can support ourselves. And so what I want to start with, you may already know this, is when we develop as a physical being, way before our brain develops is the heart. The heart develops first. The heart is already receiving information, is learning, is seeking, is feeling, is sensing. So we are sensory beings. Everything that exists as animals is a sensory being. And our animal friends haven't forgotten that. Our animal friends have not come out of living from the intuitive mind, have not come out of living from their wholeness, have not come out from this place of soul consciousness. And that's why sometimes we get stuck in these belief systems, get stuck in these patterns of, oh, why is this happening to me? And again, we're looking for things outside of us. My dog is doing this, my dog is doing that. And these are really important things to explore to support our animal friend that is presenting something. But also to know that as we fall in as a physical being, we are still a vibration. As we fall in and then we've fallen out of ceremony, everything that is around us hasn't fallen out of ceremony. They are in their wholeness and holy, which is what ceremony is. Yes, I can go into deep ceremony when I feel it, when I need it, because something huge is occurring in my life and I need to be in ceremony with that. But in our holiness, our sacredness, we are a sacred ceremony. Our dogs are a sacred ceremony. Our cats are a sacred ceremony. The trees are a sacred ceremony. We're standing in our sacred wholeness as a ceremony. I'm doing the dishes, I'm in ceremony. I'm walking the dogs, I'm in ceremony. I'm doing the laundry, I'm in ceremony. And so returning to ceremony is about returning to soul consciousness, returning to wholeness, which everything else is already in. They haven't been taken out of their wholeness. Bird, if we just stop for a moment, look outside a window, the first thing that we see, is it a bird? Is it a beetle? Is it a plant? Is it the stars? They're in their wholeness. They're not in this space of, oh, my life is like this and I wish I was a plant in Mexico rather than in rainy, wet, cold England. Bird isn't flying going, oh, I wish I had blue wings rather than black, or I wish I was a pelican rather than this blackbird. They're really embodying who they are and in this place of ceremony and wholeness. And I appreciate that might be a really big concept to stretch to. It was for me, and now it's just not. Now I'm in it and with it, and there is such a calling from your animal friend, from our animal friends, from the collective to go, hey, come on, you're the only being, you're the only life form that has taken yourself out of ceremony, and we need you, and you need to be in it, so that our life and circumstances are understood from a wider, higher perspective, from a soul conscious perspective of even our animal friends that come into our lives. Everything is an expression of spirit coming into our life to try and help us see, but see from the heart, see from that soul consciousness, see so that we can go, oh, okay, you're pulling me back onto this path. You're allowing me to try and see from that place of, why is it showing up for me rather than to me? Why is it showing up for me? So even though our animal friends, yes, may be going through their own experiences, which they're supposed to be because they're also alive and in physical form and are on their own soul journey, they're also at a spiritual level, a soul level in our lives to pull us back into ceremony. And once we get pulled back into ceremony with our canine friends, then we can go, wow, if I can do this with my dogs, then can I do it with my budgie? And if I can do it with my budgie, then can I do it with my family, my human family? If I do my human family, well, can I do it outside of nature? If I can do it outside of nature, can I do it up with the stars? If I can do it up with the stars, can I do it up with my ancestors? If I can do it with my ancestors, can I do it up with higher realms that we are also connected to and from? And so this returning to ceremony concept is then getting to be in this space of, yes, as I am a physical being on this planet Earth, I am so much more, so much wider, so much more expansive, so much more connected. And our animal friends also are in that space. And so then when they are in our lives, we see them. We recognize them as a soul that is in a physical body having a canine experience, and how they are able to address, express, and show themselves as an individual based on the soul that they are in the physical body of a canine that they are in. the way that they have to express themselves in a physical body that is kind of limited. But when we connect to that place of soul consciousness, we can see beyond that. We can feel beyond that. We can receive beyond that to go really, 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 really deep. In a place of, yeah, it might be something that the dog is asking for in their physical body now. But it goes way beyond that of the soul being that they are and what is carried into their physical body now. It's the same for us as well. And so I go back to everything that shows up in our life is an expression of spirit trying to get us to see, trying to get us to go, hey, this thing that you're feeling, or when I'm doing this behavior or response, or when I'm presenting yourself, go to the feeling. Go to the feeling for yourself. The feeling is the ceremony, because the feeling is the holiness, is the wholeness. There's this beautiful saying of, in order to heal, you have to feel. And if you cannot feel, you cannot know what is real. In order to heal, you have to feel. If you cannot feel, you cannot know what is real. And actually, it's really painful for so many of us to feel because we've forgotten what that's like, or it's being taught out of us, or it's being punished out of us. So we don't feel anymore, which is why we're like, we look at everything so separate. Oh, the dog is doing this, that person did this, my animal is doing this. How do I change that? Or I don't like it, so it is a problem for me, so I want it to be different. But again, when we just stop and go back into ceremony and go, oh, this is not separate to me. This is not, something that is individual in that way, in its own little bubble where nothing else is included. This is also something that is information for me, medicine for me, a message for me to explore, for me to understand from the place of not trying to know from the mind. So our own soul, spirit, our own dogs, because they're all animals, they're living from the heart. When I sit in this space of soul consciousness, time and time and time again, spirit, the soul of our animal friends, our own soul, the words that I am given is, oh, Isla, can you ask the humans that come to you, just say to them, we don't exist from why. We do not exist from why. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, because of course the why can help us learn and understand and acknowledge and grow and be like, oh, and so that is useful and that is helpful and I'm inviting that. But it's almost a space of, as we exist in ceremony, this place of soul consciousness of anything and everything is possible. All possibilities exist and anything and everything is possible beyond what I can even comprehend and contemplate. And that is the limitation of the mind. The mind cannot comprehend soul consciousness. The mind cannot comprehend this way of being in communion with our animal friends and the wisdom and intelligence that they have. It's not knowledge and intellect from the mind of a mathematical equation that they can teach us, but from that place of soul consciousness and this being in ceremony, they have wisdom and intelligence, just like we do, just like all of life does from that place. But when we exist in this place of why is this happening? Why is my dog doing this? Why is this existing? Why did they do that? Why is my dog afraid of this? Why do they not want to, and I want to change it? It's asking a question that actually keeps us really limited, and it keeps us out of ceremony. Like, this is the only thing that could be happening. It keeps us in a place that when we are receiving an answer from that place of why, only our mind, or where our mind will feel comfortable. Oh, okay, on some level of the mind, that already makes sense to me and I'm comfortable with receiving that as an answer, so I accept it. But even just thinking to something that someone else may have said to you this week or in this day, where you know, I don't believe it, therefore it's not true. We don't know what is true. We just don't. But the mind likes to receive this information from a place of why, so that the mind can go, oh yeah, that makes sense to me, I accept it. And so that's good. And so therefore that's right, so we must continue to do this. And so when we exist from that place of ceremony and soul consciousness, we're in that space of like, I don't know. I just don't know. People will say to me often, they're like, Isla, how do you know? And I'm like, that's the whole point. I don't, but I trust. And this comes with practice. I'm not kind of saying it's going to come overnight. For some of you, it may do. But this comes with practice in this space of, I'm in soul consciousness. I'm in this space of connection, allowing my heart to receive, allowing my heart to feel. And I'm receiving, and so I'm knowing, and therefore I know. And so then let's explore this. Let's explore this. Let's explore this. This is what I'm sensing. This is what I'm having. This is what I'm receiving. And yes, that also includes, I'm then going to be with the mind of like, oh, I need to explore this. I need to look at this. I need to learn about this. But when we are not in soul conscious, when we're out of ceremony, we allow the mind to take over. We unconsciously almost, it's like becomes a programming. Well, that's what the mind is, right? 95% of the brain is programming. Where we exist from heart, we are creative beings. We are here to create. Only 5% of the brain can create, but soul consciousness, the heart, that's creativity all the time. It's constantly expanding, constantly giving, constantly being, constantly receiving, constantly connected, constantly connected. Whereas the mind will always see things outside of us. The mind will always want to be in this space of, this is the problem, or that is the problem, or this is outside of me, this is not connected to me, this is something that I need to resolve or to change. But that is also a program, it's also a conditioning of being told something is not right here. What our animal is presenting, oh, well, that's not right. The animal's presenting, and so in that moment it is right. That's where we can then explore, okay, what is my animal friend trying to get me to see? What are they trying to get me to notice? Whether it's for them, something's not working for them and they're limited in their physical body of how they can express that, or actually it's information for us. Because like I've already shared, everything is an expression of spirit. And because everything that exists is already in their wholeness, is already in ceremony, and most often for humans, we're not, we've been taken out of ceremony, that the way that spirit is expressing itself is information for us to go, hey, just see this now. See this and come back into ceremony. See this and be in ceremony with it. So there's this, it's an old teaching actually, but Einstein also shared it as well. Einstein is known for saying that the rational mind is a faithful servant and the intuitive mind is a powerful gift. But we have chosen to live in a society that honours the servant and has forgotten the gift. The rational mind is a faithful servant. The intuitive mind is a powerful gift, a sacred gift. But we live in a society that honours the servant and has forgotten the sacred gift. Nobody else has. Our animal friends haven't, the trees haven't, the earth hasn't, the stars haven't, the waters haven't, the winds hasn't, the fire hasn't. Everything else is in this space of consciousness. And so returning to ceremony, yes, returning to soul consciousness is returning to one consciousness. I'm connected to everything as a web. I'm connected to everything. Like the mycelium, like mushrooms, there is so much beautiful information coming out now of how connected and how the mushrooms speak to each other. But the whole concept is everything is speaking to everything, including ourselves. And so our animal friends that come into our lives are here to invite us to return to ceremony, that they can be the bridge, that they are here to go, hey, let us do this with you. We can do this with you. As you return to ceremony with us, then you start to open up all the possibilities that you can return to ceremony with, to then be in ceremony and simply be in the space of oneness, of one consciousness. Our animal friends, as I say, are in their wholeness, are in this space of one consciousness. Which is why, yes, it's useful and important and helpful as a sacred being that is in soul consciousness, that is in ceremony, that we have compassion, that we have love, that we have care, that we want the best for everything, that we want the best for our animal friends. So how do we learn about what they need? But this goes beyond the physical being that they are. It goes into the soul that they are. And there are so many stories that I can share about the soul that our dogs are and how that is presented in their physical body. Including, it's the same for ourselves. Maybe you already know about, there's this pattern that keeps showing itself. I don't know if it's past life. I don't really know anything about past lives. Maybe we're carrying it for our ancestors. The quality of our life experiences also shape how we feel about ourselves, shape our healing, shape how we can recognize our soul consciousness. And so it's a collection of these things, but everything that is all around us, including technology right now. As I'm speaking to you, your camera might not be working, the recording maybe stuttering, maybe all of a sudden you may see some sort of car with a registration plate. Spirits, when we're kind of in that space of contemplating a ceremony, or okay, when I'm in a spiritual connection, I'm going into meditation, I'm going into deep ceremony, I'm in silence, I'm out in nature. Oh, and all those things are true, but Spirit is always speaking to us. So it is really clever in that way, that it can also use technology. Even when we may be in a space of an animal friend has just transitioned or recently transitioned, we're in pain, we just want to, give me a sign, I really need to still feel our presence, our connection, our relationship. And then you play a song comes on the radio, you see a feather fall in front of you, or something really unusual may happen. Even whether it's an animal, it's like we don't really get these animals in this area or this time of day. When our animal friends transition, they are no longer that animal, they're back to spirit. And so again, they can then communicate in every way possible, But right now, when our animal friends are in physical form, they are so lovingly being with us to physically bring us back into ceremony, to be our physical guide, our ally, to go, hey, let us be the bridge, the connector that brings you back into ceremony with yourself, that brings you back into ceremony with us, that brings you back into ceremony with your life. And so you stand in ceremony, you stand as a ceremony. And then we see them, we recognize them, but at this deeper level of, okay, I see that my mind and my eyes are showing me how you are behaving, how you are responding, what you're doing. I have read this literature, these resources that my mind tells me, oh, this is what it must mean, this is what you're doing. And on some level, yes, of course, that's true. Understanding what it means to be a dog and how the canine body works and what behavior is, of course, that's true. I'm not denying that, I'm not dismissing it. But then we can go underneath that to go, okay, but how is something true for my dog now as a soul and as an individual? Oh, my dog is barking, so it must mean either this. And those things might be true. But also we don't know unless we connect that level of the soul to go, hey, share with me this concept of feeling, like this when you're barking, like, can you give me a sense, a feeling, an image, what's going on here? And it could be beyond what we know, and most of the time it is. And so our animal friends, even for their own sake of like, hey, you are trying so hard to get to understand us, to get to meet us, do the best for us, then it must include the soul. It must include soul consciousness, and also then what they have to share to us. The medicine they have to give to us, which for me comes through channeling. I'll talk about that on another video, I imagine. And so being in this space where we then get to be with our animal friends in a very, very different way, from that place of the soul, from that place of one consciousness, which then, as I say, just pulls us into more expansion. And like I say, it takes practice. It takes practice first and foremost, because our mind, maybe everything that I'm sharing here, maybe some things I'm sharing here, maybe nothing that I'm sharing here, you don't believe. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I'm not here to convince you. I just want to plant that seed. Because we are soul. We have been many things, and potentially, possibly will be many things. It's exactly the same for our dogs, exactly the same for everything, but everything is already in ceremony. Everything is already in their wholeness. And this is the concept of, like I've already shared, in order to heal, we have to feel. And if we cannot feel, we cannot know what is real. And this is why it's an individual journey, because I cannot feel for you. You cannot feel for me. We cannot feel for anybody else. From a place of soul consciousness with our animal friends, yes, When we're in that space, we can drop into that place of, okay, I'm connecting soul to soul with my animal friends. Okay, I'm starting to vibrationally feel like what is going on in their body. What is it? This high vibration of, I'm forgetting now that the physical body, just if they can share with me as a vibration, and just like Morse code, we receive, that gets translated. And so as energy, as vibration, that gets translated, gets interpreted. And then with that interpretation, sometimes it's very literal, sometimes it's very well, literal, that's the word I'm using, but it has to be interpreted often. When we're in this space of receiving at the soul level, it's receiving in an invisible way. It's beyond what our eyes can see, and therefore our mind can interpret. So when we receive it, then sometimes we have to translate it from a place of feeling. And that's because the soul will speak to us, whether it's just a feeling. For many of you, it might be like, oh, I don't think I receive. We do. We all receive because we are all soul, and we're all connected to spirit. We're all a part of spirit, or actually just an expression of spirit still in a physical body. But it may come just as it's a knowing. I just know. When I go to those spaces, I just know. Maybe a feeling. It may be a smell. It may be a taste. It may be words. It may be song, sound, poetry, art, everything. And the more that you practice, and the more that you become open, the more that you return to ceremony, becomes soul consciousness, becomes all those things. But there is no wrong or right. This is what the mind will do. The mind will like, oh, I can't do that, or I'm wrong, or there is no wrong or right when we're at the soul, because it's just a receiving. I'm receiving, and so I'm trusting. I'm receiving, so I'm trusting. If you received it, if you felt it, then it's right. It's right for you in that moment. And so when we go into that space of that soul consciousness, the soul, how it's connecting and communicating with us, including our own soul when we drop into the spaces, and spirit is speaking to us through symbols, through imagery, through symbols that again often have to be interpreted. And the way we can interpret that is by going into the feeling, which is for you. I can't do it for you, you can't do it for me. We have to go to the feeling, and that's why there's no right or wrong. What feels right for you is going to be different what feels right for me. What it is that you were to receive because of the soul that you are on, the journey that you are on with your dog, is going to be different to you, what's different for me. But we can start to drop into those images of, wow, okay, well, I got my dog was sharing this image with me of, there was a giraffe on a lawnmower, and I was carrying, he had something in his hand. I can't quite see what was in the hand, but I can smell. Okay, I can smell what was in the hand. And okay, some words are now starting to form. It can be as wide and as imaginative and as disbelieving as the mind will tell you. But that is the level of the soul, and that's what returning to ceremony is. And this is why for me it's so important. Heck, I'm a zoologist, I'm a conservation biologist, I am a canine behaviorist, I am a canine wellness practitioner. I love to explore these things. And in terms of canine wellness, which has become huge now, and it should be, and that excites me so much, well, what is wellness? Wellness is mental, physical, as Lila, if you heard her, mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual wellness, health, and our connection to nature. Our connection to nature, connection to oneness. And so we are trying, not even trying, we are doing so well with, how we understand our dog as a physical being. There has to be compassion there. They are also feeling beings. Everything is feeling. We're having this understanding our dogs are feeling all the time. They're feeling. And that is their invitation to us. Don't think it, feel it. Do not think it, feel it. My invitation is, begin to just practice. Hang on. There's Ida telling me don't think it, feel it. I was just thinking about thinking. The thinking can be useful. I'm not saying that. But the thinking is also limited, because our thinking will keep us trapped in this space of what we believe to be true, what makes sense to us, and what is comfortable for us, so therefore what we accept. But if we go in the feeling, just, oh my goodness, I'm feeling this, just be playful with yourself, and also humor. Often I'm like, do you know what, humor me here, I've just done this sacred soul ceremony with the dog, what I've received is this. This is my interpretation. oh, this is, I actually don't even know, but I'm going to explore it and then go to the feeling. So don't think it, feel it. Don't think it, feel it. But our dog is a physical being. That's one of their invitation to us. They're literally in our face going, hi, we're feeling right now, we're feeling right now, we're feeling right now. That's what they're inviting us to do. Returning to ceremony. Come back to feeling. Come back to feeling as you're already going to be connected to your soul and soul consciousness. Because feeling's not here. Feeling is here, is here. Pay attention to your body. Pay attention to what your body is sharing. Because again, the body will often express what we cannot. The body will often express what we cannot. And so being in this space of, yes, from a mental perspective, I'm sitting here right now giving you this information, whether it's landing or not, that's absolutely fine. And it's not meant to if it's not landing, that's absolutely fine. But I'm giving you words and information that your mind can receive, that maybe you can get a mental construct of. Physically, I could take you somewhere. Physically, I could take you on an exercise, a practice. But I cannot feel for you. You can't feel for me, and we cannot feel for another. But when we return to soul consciousness, return to ceremony, and we come back into feeling, then feel like it, just like electricity, just like a current flowing through everything, or just a current, wires that move all around all of life, starting with our canine friends. Okay, so we're just an electrical current, just a vibration, and I'm feeling, and in that moment you may get a smell, you may get a word, you may get an image, you may get a taste. Trust it. Trust it. Your mind will instantly go, well, I might have made it, well, I was thinking about this, well, I just heard this song before. No, if you received it, then it is true. And that, bit by bit by bit, is returning to ceremony until you are in it, and then you're beyond the mind. Rather than going, oh, my dog is doing this because, oh, my dog is doing this and they shouldn't, my dog. Oh, how is this showing itself for me? What is happening here for me? Go to the feeling. Oh, okay, right now I'm having a feeling when my dog is doing this. Oh, okay, it creates a feeling of X, Y, or Z. So that's useful information for yourself and your healing. Useful information for yourself of what is needed. But also useful information to go, oh, okay, my dog is sharing this with me. And it's so wide and so varied that right now all these examples are coming in and I'm like, I can't even feel into an example. So wide and so varied. Manitou, for example, he shows me that he's got 2 animals with him. He shows me what he has been in a past life. He shows me this high intergalactic, high vibrational soul that he is. So often I kind of forget now that Manitou and Lulu are Cocker Spaniels, because I'm in this place of soul consciousness and being in ceremony with them. So we're having this conversation of like, how are you today, and what is that you need, and even with their healing, it can be past life, it can be soul retrieval, it can be high vibration, it can be something that needs to be pulled out of the physical body, and when we're in that place of soul consciousness, it's things that just we couldn't even make up, and that is what soul consciousness is, and that's what our spirit connection is, and being that place of oneness. Because it will speak to us through imagery, through symbols, which don't have to be seeing symbols. It can be felt, they can be knowing. And then we can go in that place of feeling of, okay, what is needed here? What do I need to do? But it's a practice. It's for some of you that are listening, you may already be there, and it just needs this little activation of me sharing these words. But it's a practice. Practice. And then that's the whole point of being in ceremony. I live in ceremony. When were you taken out of ceremony? I live in every breath and every footstep that I take. I'm in ceremony. And that's okay when we get taken out of it. Again, there's no right or wrong. We are, again, so conditioned. Or you did something wrong, you're really bad. Oh, I'm out of ceremony. We are exploring, we are remembering, we are returning. But allow your animal friend to bring you back, to return you to ceremony in every moment. That's where they're living, and that's where we did live from and should live from, just in every moment. I just don't know, just in every moment. For example, with Lilu, she's just lying down there. She used to be a cat in a previous life, and in her physical body now as a canine, you come like that, oh yeah, you're still really feline. But as high vibrations, they can also have these animal spirits that are with them, that are part of them. When Lilu, so Manitou and Lilu, brother and sister, Manitou really fell into his canine body really strongly and really quickly. Really strongly, really quickly. He's like, oh, I'm a dog now. Awesome. Like, oh, I'm a dog. Lilu took her some time. She was so, and kind of, well, we are all high vibration, but it took her such a long time to fall into her canine body, to really fully anchor into it. And even at that level, I want to share about Manitou of everything is consciousness. So even the words that we speak are alive, have medicine, have vibration, have their own consciousness. Everything has their own consciousness. I connect to the consciousness of food. I connect to the consciousness of our animal friends. We can get to the consciousness of stones or a stone. We can get to the consciousness of plants or a plant. That is what returning to ceremony is. But when I first got Manitou and Lilu as pups, which I was never... my brain told me, oh, I'm not ready to have pups. So we'd recently lost our last oldest dog, and I just wanted some space to explore, to be, to travel, to journey, on the physical plane, I should say. But hey, these two dogs came into our lives, and I really trusted that because I'm in soul consciousness. That's the whole point. I don't know when we're in soul consciousness. It's we can plan and prepare things, but what is happening is just like, oh, cool, this is happening. We don't know until it's happening. But when I sat with Manitou and Lilu, and Manitou was just, he kept sharing again when I connected with his soul. So, like at that point, he was a puppy, Cocker Spaniel, but I wasn't seeing him as Cocker Spaniel. In fact, he was the reincarnation is a thing. It exists. I never experienced myself before with animal friends, but Manitou, he's a wolfdog that I used to have called Seattle. And so when I first saw him, I was like, I couldn't. I was just like, oh, it's Seattle. Like it's. Everything about him was Seattle. I could see Seattle. And again, because I'm in soul consciousness, the mind will always want evidence. Will prove how? Go on, show me the evidence. I can't. When we're at this place of soul consciousness and living in ceremony, I can't because it's feeling. It's a knowing from not here, but from a much wider place. I'm just like, I know you're Seattle. But before that, he showed me this beautiful being that he is as a soul. But then he kept sharing with me, it's like, I'm feeling into a name. This is the power of words. We have to be conscious. No, we don't have to be. Sorry, I'm taking those words back. My invitation is to be conscious in every moment, which is a practice. But I was just feeling into a name. Okay, well, how is our life going to be? What we're going to be doing. And in that moment, I heard him say, Ojibwe spirit, Ojibwe spirit, Ojibwe spirit, Ojibwe spirit. And I was like, oh... So again, I'm not going to fall verbatim be like, oh, okay, your name's Ojibwe spirit. It could be, but I'm going to feel it, right? I'm like, oh, is Ojibwe spirit, is that your name? And is it your, I mean, it's going to be a strange name to shout, but hey, who am I to kind of say what your name is and isn't? Let me feel into it. Okay, Ojibwe spirit. Okay, you're telling me something about Ojibwe spirit, about this as a word, but that's not your name. And so this is what I love now, because we have like the internet, which is again such a powerful source from which spirit can work. So I typed in Ojibwe spirit, and a word that I saw was Manitou. And the moment I saw it was the very first word that came up, and boom, that was that heart pull, boom. Hang on, is Manitou? Yes. Is Manitou? Yes. Ah, okay, Manitou. And Manitou is, so there's another word that I use in my teachings, which kind of talks about it's almost like the soul of everything, the spirit of everything, this kind of supernatural vibration, energy of everything. And that's also kind of what Manitou is. And the way that I am now in my life, and the way that I coexist with Manitou and Lilu, but the way that I work with Manitou and Lilu to bring the message of soul conscious forward was making perfect sense of like, oh, this is what we're to do. And so his name is Manitou. That's just one example. There are so many examples. But my invitation is to be playful and to practice. And for me, this is what returning to ceremony is. Like I just kind of shared of in wellness, in really supporting our animal friends. We're giving them a voice now. We understand that they are emotional beings, that they're sentient beings. They have things to share and say, and they are soul. They often have so much more wisdom than what we have. When we drop into that, I mean, our soul does, but when we drop into like, hey, share me your wisdom, it's because it's beyond the animal that they are. But this is the concept for me. This is a thing for me that I feel our animal friends are kind of, it's still suffocating for them, or for me, it gives me twitchy eye, because there is so much acceptance now of physical health, mental health, emotional health standard, which is really good and important, and also into our animal friends, our canine friends. And we kind of know in the wheel of wellness, oh yeah, there's this spiritual side which like we don't quite understand or we don't quite get, or like we better just, it's a bit taboo, like, you know, we're just kind of gonna get laughed at or called a quack or lose followers or friends, or, but that it only completes the circle. That's where the circle begins. We start off as spirit, we end as spirit. We start off as spirit, we end as spirit. So for me, I'm like, wow, we are putting in so much effort and so much care and so much intention and attention to the best of our animal friends, yet the spiritual nourishment, the very anchor that can affect emotional, mental and physical nourishment, the spiritual part of wellness is not being addressed in this way, or certainly what I'm aware of. And this is what our animal friends are asking. But to be in that place of spiritual wellness and explore it and feel it, we have to feel it. We have to step into ceremony. Be in that space of ceremony. So we start off as spirit, we go back to spirit. And this is why we love our dogs so much. We love our animal friends so much. Being around children at this level is great. At this level, I love being around children. I didn't mean being around children at this level and then no other level. Being around children, when we drop into the space of soul consciousness, they're already there. Children are already in ceremony. The reason why we love our animal friend, well, not the only reason, one of the reasons why we kind of feel this, there's just something about my dog that I can't quite place my finger on, of like, I just love being in their company. It is the love that they just unconditionally give us, but it's also because they're in ceremony. They haven't come out of that. They are in their wholeness. They are living from their soul. They're allowing their soul to experience, which is what we are also here to do and should be doing and start off as, because we used to be children. We start off as spirit, we return to spirit. As we are kind of in a physical body, the very first thing that we are is we're emotional beings. We are energy. We have no labels. I don't have a word or a label for this. I don't have a word or a label for this, or this is the only thing it can be. I don't have a word or label for this. This is the only thing it can be. So we're in this place of fascination, imagination, innocence, purity, no filters, which is how our animal friends live until the day that they transition. And then we can still connect with them and receive from them and speak with them and be in communion with them and coexistence. So our animal friends and children are then in this space of, they're just energy. Wow, I'm in this physical body, but my soul is seeing, my soul is feeling, and I accept that and I see it, I accept that and I see it, I accept and I see it. It's only for humans, as we are programmed, still very young at age, to be taken out of these things. This is a lighter and it's nothing. Yeah, but could it? No, it's just a lighter. And it's orange. Yeah, but could it? No, it's an orange lighter. Oh, right, okay. Well, can I use it to? No, you can't use it for anything else. So we are, like, our imagination gets crushed. Our spirit gets crushed. And again, this can be seen at a physical level in our animal friends, but underneath, when we go to the soul, that's why that wisdom is there. That they also have an acceptance of when they're having a hard time, when something is happening that is unkind. And I'm pausing there because I have my own understanding, not my own understanding. I've connected to the conscious of canines to explore this concept of suffering, abuse, which happens across all of life, but how we can kind of contemplate that if we're a soul and our animal friends are in ceremony, like, well, would a soul like choose that? Well, in short, yes. I don't feel I want to bring this forward in this share, but because it's tapping me on the shoulder, I will do it in another share, or maybe do a live share as well, of, because I really appreciate that certainly that part can be really hard to grasp of, but if an animal's soul and they're in their wholeness, but that animal's also being abused or being neglected, or is, in a household, in a situation where there's a lot of control and a lot of defeating, what happens to the soul? And yes, there can be healing. Healing may be needed around that, but also at the level of the soul, there is a deeper knowing and a deeper acceptance and a deeper awareness. The animal is still in ceremony. The animal's still processing. And that's what happens even when our animal friends transition. I'm feeling all these like, oh my goodness, I need to be talking about this and talking about that. So I'm kind of feeling all these other shares that are going to come forward. But I just really want to feel that the call that I got for today was like, hey, Isla, what does return to ceremony mean? So I'm kind of keeping it within that, without going off to too much of a tangent, for you to feel into and to receive. But if it's welcomed, if you would like to know these things, then please let me know, and I can do a live. I could do another recording, because there's just so much. That's the thing. The soul is unlimited. Our physical life is finite, but the soul is infinite, which is why we've been many things and we may be many things. And so this is the beauty of when we are in ceremony and in soul consciousness and we're connected to everything, we are connected to the tiniest particle of soil that we can receive information from through wisdom and intelligence. We can commune with, connected to the stars, to the galaxy, to the solar system, to the universe, to the cosmos, to our ancestors that are not just in this life, but all the many things that we've been. So in terms of our soul, like I might live till I'm 80, I might live till I'm 100, I might live longer. So my mind will tell me, wow, that's a really long time. Like, whew, but to the soul, it's nothing. It's like 5 seconds, because the soul, it's unlimited, goes on and on, which is why it's no difference with our animal friends as well, that we have been many things, we will be many things, or maybe many things, but we also, because they are held within us as a soul, that we can feel or contemplate or bring forward in the life that we're having now, which is exactly the same as our dog friends. But they're then going to express it in the way that they can in the canine body that they're in. So it's an invitation to go beyond what the eyes and the mind will tell you is true, or what the eyes and the mind can see and then tell you. Or I need to make an answer around this that is comfortable for me and I accept, because I already kind of have created a belief system around it. So into that place of soul consciousness. Oh, okay. Let me just be in this space. It's almost like the way I see it, it's like I'm floating. I'm just floating as a vibration. Oh. And okay, I'm really curious of when my dog is doing this. So I'm really curious to explore this. I'm just really curious to be in this space of I'm just floating, just in a sea of vibration with my dog. Okay, it's like my physical body is almost like unraveling itself. So I'm just like particles of it, and these particles are coming together. What does my dog want to show me in this moment through feeling? What does my dog want to tell me, want to share with me? What can I know? What can I sense? What can I feel? Oh, wow, they just shared love to me. Wow, thank you. Wow, they just showed me, just how happy they are. Oh, they showed me some food that they want. Oh, okay, we've gone really high vibration. Oh, actually, there's an animal with them. Okay, what's that animal about? Okay, that's their quality of who they are. No, that's a power animal for them. Why? It's so wide and so wide, which is why the invitation is, we're just practicing, because our mind, it goes beyond what the mind can comprehend, because it's not a place of the mind. That is the invitation. It's not a place of the mind, because we're going into soul consciousness. Soul consciousness is everywhere. We just can't see it. It exists. Well, we can see it in terms of it's expressing itself everywhere, but seeing it in a way of like, oh, I see the soul, I see the spirit. My mind can process that. It's not an intelligence of the mind. It's an intelligence and wisdom of the soul and of consciousness. And so I end as I started. Returning to ceremony is, yes, be in those spaces of deep ceremony. That, again, is right for you, and you will know. oh my goodness, I need this ceremony now because I've just realized I am hurting from this or haven't overcome this. So this is the next part of my healing that I am ready for, because you're ready for it. When we're ready for it, we're ready for it. Sometimes people will say to me, oh, if only I wish I started this X number of years ago. But if you were ready, then you would have. So again, there's no excuses and there's no coincidences. There's always synchronicities. I always say there's no coincidences, just synchronicities. It's happening because it's happening. It's ready. It's ready. So be in those spaces of, deep ceremony. When the example I always give is when our animal friends transition. But it might be, oh, I'm panicking right now. My animal's having a really important operation. Oh, I'm really worried. I'm really worried. Go into deep ceremony. But as soul that you are, and living from soul consciousness that you started as and began as and are, then be a ceremony. I live my life as a ceremony in every breath and every footstep that I take. Just like your animal friends are doing. And meet them. See them at that soul that they are. Beyond the dog that they are in and the dog that they are. And what our mind tells us of what they can be and what they can't be and what they should or shouldn't be doing. Beyond that, yes, learn about that. But from a soul. Oh, I see you. How is this for you? What is it that you need? Actually, I don't know. I need to go to somebody and ask them and be with them. And that's fine. That's fine. So one of the reasons why I've created these sacred soul ceremonies, to be in this space, to create that bridge that your animal friend they've got this rope around it, like, come on. Your animal friend is the elixir to your spiritual amnesia. That is here for you just as much as you're there for them. To be the bridge for you, to be that stepping stone, to be that little pebble to put your toe on, to step back into ceremony, to step back into soul consciousness and live from soul consciousness with them. That also allows us to heal, to be in this space of, I exist. I exist from soul. That doesn't mean to say that things aren't going to be sad or painful or confusing, because that's also part of ceremony. It's part of the soul awakening and soul being. But we're seeing clearly now. I'm seeing from a different perspective. I'm seeing from a different place, which is where we always started off as and where our animal friends are. And like I say, when we start there, our relationship, our life, our coexistence is huge. It's expansive. It's unlimited. It's huge. I am walking with my canine friends now. I'm walking with them from soul. I'm walking with them from spirit. I'm walking with them from soul consciousness. I'm walking with them. And as you walk with them in that way, I'm walking with the earth in that way. I'm walking with the soils, the mushrooms, the stones, the plants, the trees, the microbes, the minerals, the stars, everything. I'm walking. And it doesn't mean to say you need to have all the answers, because I feel we're not supposed to. At least I don't think. I feel we're not supposed to, because again, well then what, I got it all then. It's not soul consciousness. And I don't have all the answers. I channel with our animal friends. I channel with many different things. Like the way that I channel is very with nature beings, with the spirits that are in nature. And yes, I have some higher beings that I channel with, but I don't have the answers of the high vibrational beings. We don't need to. When we're in ceremony and soul consciousness, I'm just here. I don't need to. And when we contemplate and move into that space of how our animal friends are, that they are already in ceremony, they're already in soul consciousness. They're in a moment. Thanks for that validation, Lilu. They're in a moment, in a moment, in a moment. And in those moments, their soul is experiencing. And their soul, again, just like that little Morse code, or even a lighthouse or a beacon, boop, boop, boop. They're sending information to us. We are constantly receiving. It's just we are so used to relying on our eyes and our mind to interpret something, then we'll only interpret something that we believe, that we feel is right or wrong or true or good or bad, or coming out of that belief system. I don't know. I just don't know. But I'm going to feel, and I'm going to explore, and I'm going to be. My soul is receiving, my soul is experiencing. That's returning to ceremony. That is soul consciousness. And that is being in ceremony with our animal friends. So my friends, thank you so much for listening. I trust that this has landed and reached at whatever level it is supposed to in this moment. I look forward to sharing more with you. I look forward to hearing from you. If you want more, I need to hear it, right? If you have questions or you want to share with me about this, share with me. I need to hear it. I don't know. I can feel and go, oh, this is what I'm going to bring forward today. But if there's things I like, oh, yeah, if something has made your ears prick up, then share with me. Please follow me on YouTube, on Facebook. KachinaCanine.com is my website. I look forward to being with you in soul consciousness, in ceremony. We are already connected. We are already in ceremony together. Many blessings.